Welcome.
Bonjour.
Vous écoutez le podcast Dirty Feet sur les ondes de No More Radio.
You're listening to the Dirty Feet podcast on the No More Radio Network.
Nous sommes vos animateurs
Et animatrices.
We are your hosts, Allison Burns,
JD Papillon.
Et Stéphanie Morin-Robert.
Listen in.
Écoutez.
We're gonna move you.
This week, we're starting a short trend. We're going to be doing a few episodes that cover the Bouge DC Dance Festival for the 7th edition, the January 2016, for 10 days here at Mainline Theatre. We will be celebrating dance in plenty of different forms. We'll get into the details a little bit later on, but it's a lot of amazing choreographers coming together to show their work. Some workshops that are accessible to absolutely anyone who's curious. There's a film dance night called Cinedance. There is so much happening, and it's all on bougedc.com. The programming is there in full, so you can schedule your January. We are going to be focusing on one artist in particular today who is presenting work at the festival and kind of broadly about her career and work in general. So I'm sitting here with Liliane Moussa. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And Liliane, we're very excited to have you as a part of the festival this year. You've participated in Common Space, l'Espace Commun, the showcase that is the primary piece of Bouge DC that's been in existence since the beginning, with its short works, 10 minutes in length or less. This year we have a showcase of Common Space with 10 different pieces, 12 choreographers. So there's 2 co-creations, and it's madness. There's going to be like 30 people on stage. But anyway, that was in the past. And this year we're launching a new project that you're going to be showing your work at, which is more long form. And you're going to be opening our festival this year along with Catherine Lafleur and her work Fuck It, which is going to be the first half of our double bill. And you're going to be presenting the second half with Finale au Sol.
That's it.
That's it. So let's talk about yourself as an artist and your parcours. You studied dance at UQAM in performance and creation. Is that correct?
Yeah, in creation.
Creation, wicked. And then what year was it that you presented work at Bouge DC?
In 2012.
Okay, great. And that's when we got to meet you.
Yes.
Perfect. Now, since then, you've been a busy bee. This Finale au Sol work that you're going to be presenting this year was actually presented at the Fringe Festival this past year.
Yeah,
and this was a newer format of project for you, a longer format. Can you tell us a bit about this embarkment on this project for you, this 45-minute work with 4 soloists?
Yeah. So that project called Finale au Sol is my last creation. It's a piece I wanted to do inspired by my past as a gymnast. Sports is always a subject that's inspired me, and I have a lot of reflection on sports in general. I think it's a nice way to see how human beings are. We see a lot of human behaviors in sports that are kind of enhanced because of the stress, because of also it's so popular, so we have it's really accessible, all the images we can see. So anyways, it's something that inspires me in my dance creation, and I wanted to do something in regards with my past as a gymnast. So all the souvenirs I had were brought back, and I decided to do a solo form because, well, gymnastics is kind of an individual sport, and it's competitive too. So and there's also, it's judged. So that was kind of the basic thing I wanted to bring. And then afterwards, so then I got inspired by the four dancers' personality a little bit to get like characters, kind of like it's like four different personalities on stage, and they kind of all it's different aspects of sports, what is beautiful about it, but also what is not as beautiful or sometimes kind of threatening in the sports community or just like the sports world in general. So, yeah.
And this may sound familiar. We did get a chance to talk with Liliane during the Fringe Festival. We had a quick French interview with you about the work. So it's nice to be able to revisit this in a little bit more detail. And also, since I've seen the work, which is great, and I see very clearly what you're talking about, the different personalities of the different performers. The four women who are dancing are doing very physical work. It's very technical, and they each have themes in their work that are very strong. They're very clear individual cameos of work. Yeah. Now, can we talk about the effect that this has on your audience? Kind of, we had the chance to discuss that a little bit, and how not only are you showing this on stage, but you're also creating that atmosphere for the audience of that competitiveness, and kind of the feedback that you ended up getting back after the Fringe, where people were a little bit more judgmental of the work because of this format.
Yeah, well, in the creation, what is important for me in that piece is that there is a stress that dancers feel. And I wanted, like, after the Fringe, I wanted to be a bit more clear about the relationship with the audience. When there is, like, an audience seeing, like, a hockey game or anything that is a sport event, the fans get really emotional about it and very stressed as they watch the game and everything. So I wanted to make the audience feel that a little bit more. And I think it's by just increasing the stress that the dancers feel on stage that we can actually feel a bit more stressed ourselves watching the show. So I reworked the piece for that to happen. So the order of the solo is going to be picked at the beginning of the show. So the girls are on stage, and then they're going to pick the order they're going to pass and execute their solo. So that is very stressful for them. And actually, like in all the creation process, there was kind of a stress environment that I didn't really choose, but it was there all the time because I worked a lot with individually with all the dancers, and then we had to meet everyone in the studio. We were like meeting each other, and then they had to present their work and what they did with me alone in the studio, and they were really stressed just to present that and just seeing what the other girls did, even if it's their friends, and they like each other very much. But it was just like, oh, is her solo better? Am I gonna do my solo? Like, is it gonna be good enough? Is it gonna be as good as the other one? Is the people are gonna find that the other one is better than mine? Am I like, so that all this is like passing through their heads without me like imposing it. It was just like there. So I wanted to push that a bit further. And what was great also about the Fringe is when we were getting out of the theater at the end of the show, like what we were hearing the most is like, oh, my favorite solo was this, this one was really the best, or I didn't really like that one, but the other one was better. So I think that just like doing 4 different parts in the piece is actually putting the audience just in a judgmental state of mind, and we can't really go out of this just because of the structure of the piece.
You have this background in gymnastics, and this is the kind of competitive field that you're being inspired by. For your performers, the 4 of them, do they have similar experiences, or has this been, because there's a slight competition, of course, in dance as well, but how did you kind of relate to them about this atmosphere that you were looking for?
What was important for me is there's 3 different things. First, it's just when you're doing a sport, you want to be like you give what like everything you have, so you want to do your best. So, but this is like even in dance, so I think that this is something that was already in them. You always want to do your best, you want to do better, you want to like push your limits. So that is something that is part of the dance world, or I think it's part of us anyway. Like everyone is just trying to do their best. So this is important in the sports actually. So I think this is there. And the other thing is also the approval of others. That is a lot of, I think in sports it's important, like the audience is important, the fans are important too, so you want them to approve and support your success and your fail and all this, and this is also part of dance. So I think even if they don't have a pass in competitive activities or in sports, I think it's these are two elements that are part of the dance work. And the other thing is also like the chance that is important in sports. Like sometimes it's just like it's raining, or or you don't like whatever the floor you're going to perform in, or you don't like there's like that day you had a bad day, and there's always like that element of chance that is important in your success in a competitive event. So that I wanted to push a bit further now. So like that's why I'm putting like I don't give them the order of the solo they're going to pass in. So just if they pass last, it's going to affect the way they're going to perform, because they're going to see the three others before them. So this is something that is just, I think we have to work a bit more on that, because it's not necessarily there in dance. There's not that much that element, I think, in the dance
fairly
performance.
Controlled the environment. Yeah, it's interesting that you have the performers on stage just kind of casually being present for each other's work and observing it, and also preparing for their own turn.
And also the fact that we don't have that much time on stage before the actual show and the performance is kind of a good thing, because they don't get to be like used by the space that much, the lighting and everything. So it's another kind of a aléatoire, or something that we don't control, like it's element that we don't control. So I think it's a good thing for them just to put a little bit more stress in the performance for them. Yeah.
Oh, sure. So we should just skip dress rehearsal then and just go straight to the show.
Yeah. I don't think they would be super happy with that, but
And when you wrapped up the presentation at the Fringe Festival, were you already planning on showing the work again and continuing to work on it, or was this were you reopening it when you were invited to do Bouge DC?
I was planning to do it again and reworked some parts. So, like the rhythm is going to change for sure, because we don't know the order before the show starts. So that's one thing. And also I added some little choreographic parts that is like that are going to be in between. Just that give a bit more information about the relationship between each of them. And so it's like a little bit to feed the in between the solos.
And can you give us the name of these four dancers?
Yeah, for sure. So there's Anne-Fleur de Rochambeau, Marine Rixon, Marilyn Daou, and Liliane Thériault. So these are four girls that finished also from NUCAM. I worked with a lot with Marilyn Daou before, but the three others, it was the first time doing like a choreographic work on them. Yeah.
All four are absolutely fascinating to watch on stage. They're incredible performers. Yeah. Do you miss being on stage when you watch them?
No, I don't like to dance in my own project. Like for the collective, it's kind of different because we're all doing everything, so it puts us in another like state of creation. But when I do my own creation, I don't want to be on stage. So but I also have like other dance projects. So
yeah, let's talk about some of these other projects, like your collective with Anne-Fleur. Tell us about it.
We started working together in 2013. We wanted to question ourselves and worked on how the body and the people adapt to their environment and the past they had and how they adapted this and how the potential of adaptation we have as human beings. So we did the name of the collective is Alt Shift, and we did a piece called Entrelacs. So it's kind of it's an in situ creation with the elastic strings that we put all over the space. It creates like a web we're playing with, so it influences like our directions and the dance and like a bit the process of the piece. It's just like. So it's kind of a fun piece we're doing. We did it at the Quartier Danse Festival, and we're also part of the Jouer dehors program of 2016. So we're working on that to present it. And we also did it with Art Numérique Collective. It's like computer art, I guess. Also, we presented that at l'Espace Cercle Carré. That was like really different, but it was still working with the elastic string, but like the sound and the lights were kind of connected to our movement. And we're going to present that again at the Nuit Blanche in February. It was fun because it opened up a lot of our thinking of like the creation process, because they're really not in the body and we're just in the body most of the time. So it was fun to collaborate with them.
You've hit on this really great formula of putting your work on stage and learning from that and carrying on. Like for this piece in particular, it sounds like you've had a lot of opportunity to present it. And what does each iteration of it kind of, what information do you look for when you put it on stage before you go back into the studio and continue to work on it?
Well, you mean the work we did with the collective?
I mean, with either work, it just sounds like this one would be really rich in that kind of information coming back every time you get to present it in a new space.
Yeah, well, especially because in the space every time we do it, we adapt to a different space. So because we don't know where we're going to put the elastic, we don't know exactly where we're going to dance. It's not like a theater form performance at all. So what it gives us as an information is that we have to really actually know what are the basics of the piece, so we can actually reproduce the same thing anywhere we're doing it. So this is really important. So what is like superficial elements of the piece and what are the basics, so we make sure that the audience sees the same thing and the proposal is the same from one place to another. So I think this is what we're working on. Every time we do it, it's like it's information about what is really the piece and what is not, what is the environment or what is different. Yeah,
absolutely. How does that change when you start working with somebody in computer arts and collaborating and negotiating your values in the work and what their interests are in the work?
Actually, it was kind of a spontaneous collaboration. We didn't expect to do that, but it's Christiane, the woman from l'Espace Cercle Carré, who had the idea of putting the two collective together. So I think we started that with a really open state of mind because we didn't know what to expect from the other collective, and from there the spirit was really fun and nice because everyone was open to all the ideas, so it went really well. It's just that, well, for me, I'm really not a technological person, so everything was like, it was really different because like when you want to try something in that is technology, you have to wait and program it and try, like all the programming takes so much time. So like we were sometime waiting, but like the boys were working, and we're like, what is happening now? We're not doing anything. But they were like working. We're just waiting, because for us, it's just, if you want to start creation, you just start moving, and it's right now. But with the programming, like Danny Perrault, who did the light, like it took him like 2 weeks just to program the lighting of the show. And we're like, is he really working? But it was just kind of different. The rhythm is really different, because when the programming is done, it's done, you know. They have some stuff to do, but it's a lot more technical, I found.
You are obviously keeping very busy and very active in the dance world, which is something people assume you can't do when you have a little one, but you're managing to do that. So you do have a son now, who's how old now?
He's 16 months, so like almost a year and a half.
And how do you negotiate being a mother and being an artist?
I think it's I've always like done a lot of things, so it's just that it adds up, you know, to everything you want to do. But because I'm also like a physical therapist, and it's a way for me to like gain some money and live, I think it's easier because I don't have to work a lot of hours as if I was like, I don't know, like working in a theater, for instance, that doesn't like really pay too much. I have like my job as a physical therapist, and I work from home, so I can choose my schedule. If I have more dance project, I work less as a physio, or I put my patient elsewhere, so it doesn't like there's not much like conflict in my schedule. And when there's less dancing, I can work a little bit more. So I think that the fact that I did physical therapy study before really helps for that, because it gives me like a stability. And then also like, because of, like with the schedule of the little one and the little son, I can also like fit my activities in the days that he's going to daycare, and I try to do that. I also have a lot of family. We have like a big family on my partner side and on my side too, so they're helping us a lot. But it's just like when I was doing the creation for Finale au Sol, he was about like we started. He was like lying on his back in the studio and watching Marine's hair flying everywhere, and he was just laughing. So it was kind of easy to bring him in the studio for the creation, but now it's really impossible. So I have to find people to babysit if this like the rehearsal is not in his like if he's not at the daycare. But yeah, because he's running everywhere, and it's like a lot more attention now. But I think you have to let go also. Just like I can't put as much time in just thinking like of my creation, like as much time in the music and as much time in the like in studio also. So you try to be as efficient as possible when you're doing it, and when you're out of it, you try to be as much with your kids. It's just like trying to be as much as possible in what you're doing at that specific moment. Otherwise, like you get crazy, just having your brain in different things all the time.
Yeah, I think that's solid advice, regardless of the size of your family. That's great. I did notice that he was also at the showing of Finale au Sol with his oversized earmuffs or little sound protection.
That's important for me. He has to put it, otherwise I get a bit scared of his like hearing like capacity when he's gonna be a bit older. Yeah.
Fair enough. So what's next on the horizon for you? You do have this Nuit Blanche show with your collective in February, and of course you have Bouge DC in January. Mm-hmm. And What's beyond that?
Afterwards, I think it's going to be pretty quiet. We're just going to try to represent Finale au Sol elsewhere. I'm also like dancing in a project with Manon Fait de la Danse dance company of like Manon Oligny. So that is starting back in January also. And we have a bit of like, we're doing some workshops with teenagers in high school. So that is going to be like, it's completely different because it's not my creation. So it's another way of getting into it completely. But for my creation, we're just going to try to, I don't want to get into other stuff because it's really, for me, it's kind of the challenge right now. Like when I do a creation, I don't want to work on it anymore. So then I feel, it's not that I don't want to, but I find it hard to go back in the studio and work against something that you did already. Like it's like I just feel like I want to do new stuff and new stuff again and new stuff again. So it's the challenge just to work on building up something a bit more solid and represent it in different different opportunity, different festival, and we'll see. Yeah, try to. To push that, just so and I gotta do it for the dancers too because they put so much energy in it, so it's important for me just to keep working and keep going with the same piece,
give it another life. Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Come and see the show. The girls are beautiful, but not just beautiful, but they are talented and very devoted in their work, and it's going to be different than the Fringe. So if you saw the Fringe and you liked it, come and see it again. It's going to be a whole different piece with a lot more stress for the audience and the girls. So I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's like adrenaline.
Yeah,
not negative stress.
No.
So much. Great.
Positive.
Yeah, exciting stress.
Exactly.
So that's going to be playing January 6th, 7th, and 8th in the evening here at Mainline Theatre. So it's a double bill with Catherine Lafleur's Fuck It and Liliane Moussa's Finale au Sol, which we've been speaking about today, and about Liliane's career as a choreographer and dancer. And it's part of the Bouge DC Festival, which runs from the 6th to the 16th of January. And there's plenty other programming, and we're going to be getting into that in the next couple episodes. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Dirty Feet podcast is produced and hosted by
Produit et animé par
Allison Burns,
JD Papillon,
et Stéphanie Morin-Robert.
We have Mainline Theatre, Montreal Improv Theatre, and Paula Flalo to thank.
Merci pour le soutien.
Vous pouvez visiter notre site web, écouter les derniers épisodes, lire notre blog, nous aimer sur Facebook et nous suivre sur Twitter.
You can visit our website, listen to past episodes, read our blog, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Show us some love and help us spread the word.
Montrez-nous un peu d'amour et aidez-nous à passer le mot.